Joe's a licensed plumber and always thought owning his own company would offer independence, flexibility, and a good quality of life. But he finds himself working more and more with little to show for it. Competition is fierce, and Joe isn't up on the best ways to advertise and market his services. He can snake a drain like nobody's business, but trying to market his business? That's a whole different arena. He calls his old friend George, who's also a master plumber, and was the manager of a large independent plumbing company before starting his own business several years ago. Joe is surprised to learn that George now owns a Mr. Rooter franchise. "George," says Joe, "you had a nice business going for yourself. Why'd you decide to buy a Mr. Rooter franchise?" George explains his company provided a decent living with employees to help him, but he was still doing much of the work himself. "I wasn't growing," said George. "My business had plateaued, and I realized that I needed help if I was going to achieve my personal and business goals." He finally decided he can't build a service business from the front seat of a service van. He needed to get out of the truck and into the role of business owner. George knew Mr. Rooter was the way to go. "Now I couldn't be happier," says George. "I have a great crew working for me, which Mr. Rooter helped me find and train, and more time to spend with my family." Joe wishes he had a better quality of life with more family time. "Joe, I was once where you are," says George. "You spent all this time working to earn your master plumbing license, probably more time than a lawyer spends in school, and you really should have something to show for it. A successful business and a good quality of life." Joe agrees and wants to hear more about Mr. Rooter. "Being aligned with a national company really helped take my business to the next level," says George. "They provide help with marketing, business operations, and technology. Plus, now my business is growing and actually worth something if I choose to sell or retire someday." That's something Joe's wanted all along and thinks maybe he should look into a Mr. Rooter franchise. "I know you won't regret it," says George, "but just don't take it from me. Check out Mr. Rooter for yourself and see what other franchise owners have to say."